Okay, parents and mental health. A quiet child is not always at peace. A few days ago, I was sitting in a restaurant, and at a table beside me were two young children. No laughter, no chatter, there was no chaos, just two small faces glowing in the light of an iPad. The parents looked relieved, finally, a calm meal. We were fucking delighted because no noise, yeah? But here's the uncomfortable question: is that regulation or is that sedation? Now, before anyone gets all defensive, slow down, right? This is not about shaming parents. This is about understanding biology because screens are not neutral. Large data sets, including research from the USA, of the National Survey of Children's Health, and they looked at over 50,000 children. The report showed that once recreational screen time goes above 4 hours a day, the risk markers begin to shift massively. So, anxiety symptoms increase significantly, depressive symptoms rise by over 60%, and behavioral and attention issues climb massively also. That doesn't mean screens cause every mental health problem. I totally get that. But it does mean heavy, unregulated exposure is associated with measurable risk. Why, you might ask? Because screens display things that stabilize a nervous system, not in a good way. They take away movement, and movement regulates the mood. So they disrupt sleep, and sleep can stabilize the emotions. They replace face to face interaction. And that's where children learn about tone, negotiation, empathy, and frustration tolerance. A developing brain is not built to compete with an algorithm engineered for attention, the doom scrolling. But here's the part that matters just as much. This isn't necessarily always about the children, because the same biology applies to you. If you scroll late at night, if you feel restless without your phone, if boredom makes you uncomfortable, and if silence feels sometimes almost threatening, that's conditioning. You've been conditioned. And we cannot ask children to regulate what we refuse to model. Children don't always necessarily follow instruction, they follow a nervous system. So if dinner is device free for them, it needs to be device free for us also. If we want them outdoors for an hour a day, we can't live exclusively indoors ourselves. If we want emotional presence, we can't be digitally absent. So, most pediatric bodies recommend keeping non school recreational screen time under about 2 hours a day. Best of luck with that one. No screens at least an hour before bedtime or sleep, and daily outdoor movement. That one is non negotiable. Get them out to play. Not because technology is evil, but because the nervous system needs rhythm. They need a little bit of boredom. They need a little bit of friction. They need real human faces and interactions. A quiet child is not automatically a medical emergency. I totally get that. Nothing wrong with a quiet child if the setting is right. But a constantly overstimulated nervous system in a child or an adult eventually shows up somewhere, whether that be in mood, in sleep, in irritability, or even in disconnection, are all very important things. At Really Healed, we're not anti technology. You've probably seen one of my videos before. So we're pro regulation, we're pro awareness, and pro responsibility. We want to protect childhood, but we need to lead by example. Because the same dopamine loop that hooks a 12-year-old kid will happily hook a 40-something-year-old. Regulation is contagious. If you want a calmer child, become a calmer adult. And if no one told you today, slow down. Put the phone down for a little while. Step outside, breathe. Call it grounding if you want. And remember what it feels to be fully here. My name is Richard the Mouse Williams. I love you. Love yourself. Be blessed. I'll see you soon.